Contagious, Why Things Catch On by Jonah Berger. Picture yourself stepping into a Philadelphia steakhouse. The lighting is moody, marble gleams underfoot, and instead of regular chairs, you're sinking into plush sofas. Everything screams luxury and celebration. You're here for the ultimate steakhouse experience. Then you spot something completely bizarre on the menu. Nestled between the filet mignon and Alaskan halibut sits a Philly cheesesteak. Now hold on. In Philly, cheesesteaks are everywhere. You can grab one for $5 at practically any street corner. They're delicious, sure, but they're street food. Except this particular sandwich costs $100. Yes, you read that right. $100 sandwich. What could possibly justify that price tag? Well, this isn't your average corner store special. We're talking thinly sliced Kobe beef, caramelized onions, heirloom tomatoes, and premium Italian cheese. Oh, and it's crowned with hand-harvested black truffles and butter-poached lobster. Your sandwich comes with a chilled glass of champagne on the side. It sounds ridiculous, outrageous even. And here's the thing, it's absolutely genius. Howard Wien, the mastermind behind this creation, understood something most restaurant owners miss completely. Opening Barclay Prime, his new restaurant, required more than just excellent food. He needed people talking, buzzing, spreading the word. That $100 cheesesteak wasn't really about selling sandwiches. It was about creating conversations. And boy, did people talk. Anyone who heard about it couldn't resist telling someone else. Major newspapers couldn't ignore the story. Celebrities had to try it. Against all odds, the restaurant didn't just survive. It absolutely thrived. It became the talk of the town. But why? What made this silly, overpriced sandwich capture everyone's imagination, while countless other restaurants, maybe even better ones, quietly failed? Why do certain ideas, products, and stories spread like wildfire, while others vanish without a trace? This isn't random chance. And it's definitely not magic. There's actual science behind it. A hidden recipe for making things catch on. Today, we're going to crack that code together. Jonah Berger, a brilliant marketing professor at Wharton, spent over a decade peeling back the layers of social transmission in his groundbreaking book, Contagious. He analyzed thousands of articles, products, and ideas, hunting for the patterns hidden in plain sight. What he discovered is a framework built on 6 elegantly simple yet powerful principles. These are steps that literally anyone can use to make their ideas, products, or stories more contagious. By the time we're done today, you'll understand this framework inside and out. You'll have the secret ingredients to make things catch on, whether you're working on a school project, building a personal brand, or championing a cause close to your heart. This goes way beyond marketing. It's about the fundamental science of how ideas travel from person to person. So let's dive in. Have you ever stopped to wonder why certain topics dominate your conversations? At lunch with friends or in your group chats, you could literally discuss anything. Yet somehow, you find yourself talking about a specific movie, a hilarious video you stumbled upon, or some weird story you heard. What makes that particular thing worth mentioning? For years, people assumed the answer lay in finding the right people, the so-called influencers. The thinking went that if you could just get the cool kids or popular people buzzing about your product, it would naturally spread. But Jonah Berger's research reveals something far more powerful. He says we've been so obsessed with the messenger that we've completely overlooked the most crucial element, the message itself. Think about jokes for a second. We all know someone who's naturally gifted at telling them. Perfect timing, great delivery, always gets the laugh. But some jokes are so inherently funny that it doesn't matter who's telling them. The joke itself is contagious. Berger argues that viral ideas work the same way. They have certain characteristics baked into their DNA that make them irresistible to share, regardless of who's doing the sharing. So what are these magical characteristics? After a decade of research, Berger distilled them into 6 key principles, conveniently organized into an acronym, STEPS. That social currency triggers emotion, public, practical value, and stories. Let's unpack them one by one, starting with the first and perhaps most intriguing ingredient, social currency. Think about the clothes in your closet, the music on your playlist, the places you hang out. These choices aren't just personal preferences. They broadcast signals to others about who you are. We use them to craft our image, to project smartness, coolness, being in the know. The things we talk about work exactly the same way. Sharing an interesting fact, recommending a hidden gem, or dropping an exclusive piece of news functions like currency. It's social currency, and it makes us look good. Nobody shares boring stories about their daily commute, but they'll tell everyone about discovering that secret unmarked bar hidden behind a phone booth inside a hot dog joint. That place actually exists, by the way. It's called Please Don't Tell, tucked away in New York. You walk into this unassuming hot dog restaurant, find an old wooden phone booth in the corner, pick up the rotary phone, dial 2, and wait. If you're lucky enough to have a reservation, the back of the phone booth swings open like something out of a spy movie, revealing a hidden cocktail lounge. The name itself, Please Don't Tell, is psychological brilliance, because what happens when someone shares a secret with you? You immediately want to tell someone else. Knowing about this place gives you social currency. You're an insider with access to knowledge others don't have, and sharing that knowledge makes you seem cool. According to Berger, there are 3 main ways to generate social currency. First, find the inner remarkability. Every product, every idea has something unusual or surprising lurking inside it. Your job is to uncover it. Remember that $100 cheesesteak? It shattered people's expectations of what a sandwich could be. It was remarkable in the truest sense, worthy of remarks. Snapple did this brilliantly by printing real facts under their bottle caps. A ball of glass will bounce higher than a ball of rubber. Who knew? These surprising, shareable tidbits of information make you sound interesting when you share them. Perhaps the most legendary example of finding inner remarkability comes from a blender company called Blendtec. Let's be honest, blenders are boring. They're kitchen appliances. Nobody talks about their blender at parties. But Blendtec's founder, Tom Dixon, had this habit of testing his blenders' durability by trying to destroy them. He'd shove 2x4s into them just to see if they'd survive. One day, the new marketing director, George Wright, noticed all the sawdust on the factory floor and had a light bulb moment. With just $50, he bought some marbles, golf balls, a rake, and a white lab coat for Tom. He positioned Tom in front of a camera and asked one simple question: will it blend? They dumped 50 glass marbles into the blender, hit the button, and 15 seconds later, nothing remained but fine white powder. They pulverized golf balls. They reduced a garden rake to splinters. They even blended an iPhone. The videos exploded online, racking up hundreds of millions of views. Sales for this supposedly boring blender skyrocketed by 700%. Why? Because they found what was truly remarkable about their product, its insane, almost unbelievable power, and showcased it in a surprising, entertaining way. People shared the videos because it made them feel like they were in on this amazing, jaw-dropping secret. The second way to create social currency is leveraging game mechanics. Consider frequent flyer programs for a moment. People will book inconvenient connecting flights or pay extra money just to earn miles and climb to the next status level. Gold, platinum, executive. Why would anyone do this? Because it's a game, and we're hardwired to play. Game mechanics are the rules and feedback loops that make games so irresistibly compelling. Points, levels, leaderboards, they all show us where we stand, and we're deeply wired to care about that. We don't just care about our absolute performance. We care about how we're doing compared to everyone else. Achieving high status, like becoming a platinum medallion member, feels genuinely good. It gives us a visible symbol of accomplishment we can display with pride. And when people show off their status, they inevitably talk about the brand that gave it to them. A friend might post on social media about the free upgrade they got on Delta. Sure, they're bragging, but they're also providing free advertising for Delta. They're spreading the word without being asked. Foursquare nailed this by creating badges and crowning mayors of different locations. They transformed the simple act of visiting a coffee shop into a game, a way to earn status you could then share with friends. The final way to generate social currency is making people feel like insiders. This taps into scarcity and exclusivity. We all want things that are hard to get. If something is secret, exclusive, or in limited supply, we automatically assume it must be valuable. A website called Rue mastered this perfectly. It was a flash sale site selling designer goods, but the deals were only available for extremely limited time, sometimes just a few hours. More importantly, it was invitation only. You had to be invited by an existing member to even access the site. This created powerful exclusivity. Being a Rue member made you feel like part of a special club. And because of that sense of being an insider, members became the site's best ambassadors, eagerly inviting their friends so they could share their insider status. Scarcity and exclusivity make people feel special, and when people feel special, they talk. They share their insider knowledge as a form of social currency. So that's our first ingredient, social currency. Make people feel smart, cool, and in the know for talking about your idea. But here's a fascinating puzzle. Think about two things: Disney World and Cheerios breakfast cereal. Which one gets more word of mouth? Almost everyone instantly says Disney World. It's exciting, magical, remarkable. It's packed with social currency. Cheerios are just oats in a box. They're boring. Yet Jonah Berger's research found that people actually talk about Cheerios more than Disney World. How is that even possible? This brings us to the second, and arguably most important, principle in the STEPS framework: triggers. A trigger is something in our environment that reminds us of a related concept or idea. If I say peanut butter, you immediately think jelly. If you see a dog on the street, you might think of your own pet. Sights, smells, sounds, they all act as triggers, bringing related thoughts to the front of our minds. And here's the crucial insight. Top of mind means tip of tongue. We talk about whatever happens to be on our minds at that moment. Disney World is undeniably amazing, but how often does something trigger you to think about it? Maybe when planning a family vacation or seeing a movie featuring Cinderella's castle. For most of us, that's pretty infrequent. But Cheerios? You might eat them every morning. You see the box in your cupboard. You walk past them in the cereal aisle every time you grocery shop. Breakfast itself is a daily trigger. These frequent triggers keep Cheerios at the top of your mind, which means you're more likely to mention them in conversation, even if it's just mundane small talk. Berger's research revealed a clear pattern. More frequently triggered products generate more word of mouth. While interesting things create immediate buzz, it's the triggers that create sustained, ongoing conversation. One of the most powerful examples of a trigger involves a song that almost everyone agrees is one of the worst ever made. In 2011, a teenager named Rebecca Black released a song called Friday. The lyrics were painfully simplistic. 7 a.m., waking up in the morning, gotta be fresh, gotta go downstairs, gotta have my bowl, gotta have cereal. It was universally mocked and ridiculed. Yet it became one of the most viral videos of the year. Why? Berger shows a fascinating graph of YouTube searches for Rebecca Black. The graph is mostly flat, but then there's a massive spike, and another one exactly 7 days later, and another 7 days after that. Every single spike happened on a Friday. The day of the week itself became a massive, recurring trigger that reminded millions of people of this terrible yet unforgettable song, prompting them to search for it, share it, and talk about it. Every single Friday, the song came roaring back to life. Companies can harness triggers to their advantage. In the 1990s, Mars bars experienced an unexpected sales spike. The company hadn't changed advertising or pricing. What happened? NASA's Pathfinder mission had just successfully landed on the planet Mars. The news coverage was everywhere. And all that media attention on the planet Mars acted as a giant trigger, reminding people of the candy bar with the same name. You don't have to wait around for lucky coincidences, though. You can intentionally create your own triggers. A few years ago, Kit Kat was struggling with declining sales, so the marketing team launched a new campaign linking Kit Kat with coffee breaks. Kit Kat and coffee. The radio ads repeatedly paired the two together. Why coffee? Because coffee is an incredibly frequent trigger. Millions of people drink it every single day, often multiple times. By linking their candy bar to this common daily habit, Kit Kat created a powerful new trigger. Every time someone reached for a cup of coffee, they might also think of grabbing a Kit Kat. The campaign was massively successful. Sales grew by a third in just 1 year. They didn't change the product at all, they simply grew its habitat of triggers. So the second principle is triggers. It's not just about creating a catchy message. It's about considering the context. How can you link your idea to something in the environment that will keep reminding people of it, long after they first encounter it? Now let's move to the third ingredient in our recipe for contagiousness: emotion. When we care, we share. Think about the last time a story made you genuinely laugh out loud, or feel deeply inspired, or even legitimately angry. You probably felt a powerful urge to share it immediately. Emotional content is inherently shareable. Sharing our feelings helps us connect with others on a deeper level. If I share a video that fills me with awe, and you watch it and feel the same way, it strengthens our bond. It's like social glue. But Berger's research uncovered a fascinating nuance. Not all emotions are created equal when it comes to sharing. He analyzed thousands of articles from the New York Times to see which ones made the most emailed list. He found that articles evoking emotion were much more likely to be shared. But when he dug deeper, something strange emerged. Awe-inspiring articles, like stories about stunning scientific discoveries, were highly shared. Funny articles were highly shared. But articles that evoked sadness were actually less likely to be shared. This seemed puzzling. Sadness is a strong emotion. So why wouldn't people share it? The answer, Berger discovered, lies in a concept called physiological arousal. Arousal is a state of activation, of being fired up and ready for action. Your heart beats faster, your palms get sweaty. It's that feeling you get right before giving a speech, or when your team is about to win a crucial game. Other emotions are low arousal. Sadness and contentment fall into this category. When we're sad, we tend to withdraw and become inactive. When we're content, we're relaxed and peaceful. We don't feel any strong urge to take action. This is the critical insight. High arousal emotions, whether positive or negative, drive us to share. Low arousal emotions suppress sharing. That's why an anger-inducing story about terrible customer service can go viral. In 2009, a musician named Dave Carroll watched helplessly from his airplane window as United Airlines baggage handlers carelessly threw his expensive guitar onto the tarmac, completely destroying it. After 9 frustrating months of getting the runaround from customer service, he channeled his frustration into a song called United Breaks Guitars and posted it on YouTube. The video tapped into a deep wellspring of customer anger. It was viewed millions of times within just days. United's stock price reportedly dropped by 10%, wiping out a staggering $180 million in value. The anger Carroll's story generated was a high arousal emotion, and it fueled an absolute firestorm of sharing. So when you want people to share your message, you need to focus on feelings. Don't just throw facts and information at them. Make them feel something real and powerful. And specifically, aim for high arousal emotions. Excite them. Inspire them. Make them laugh until they can't breathe. Or even make them righteously angry. Kindle the fire inside them. Let's say you've crafted a message that gives people social currency, is loaded with triggers, and evokes powerful high arousal emotion. You're well on your way. But there's another crucial piece of the puzzle. People need to actually see others using your product or engaging with your idea. This brings us to the fourth principle, public. Humans are natural imitators. We constantly follow social proof. When we're exploring a new city and looking for somewhere to eat, we choose the packed restaurant over the empty one. We automatically assume that if lots of people are doing something, it must be the right choice. Psychologists call this social proof. That famous phrase, monkey see, monkey do, isn't just a cute saying. It's a fundamental principle of human behavior. But here's the crucial catch. Monkey can only do if monkey can see. If a choice or behavior is private and hidden, it's incredibly hard for it to catch on. You probably have no idea what brand of toothpaste your neighbor uses, because it's tucked away in their bathroom cabinet. But you almost certainly know what kind of car they drive, because it's parked right there in their driveway for everyone to see. Because car choices are highly public, they're much more susceptible to social influence. One of the most powerful things you can do to help an idea spread is to make the private public. Take the Movember Foundation, which raises money for men's health issues. Donating to a cause is usually a completely private act. You have no idea which of your friends have donated to what causes. But Movember brilliantly solved this problem with a simple, highly visible tool. The mustache. Every November, men around the world grow mustaches to raise awareness and funds. For 30 days, their faces become walking, talking billboards for the cause. When you see a friend suddenly sporting a new mustache, you get curious. You ask about it. And that conversation becomes a perfect opportunity to spread the message. They made a typically private act of support completely public. And in doing so, they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars. The Livestrong yellow wristband did exactly the same thing for cancer awareness. The band itself was incredibly simple, but that bright yellow color made it impossible to miss. It was behavioral residue. a physical trace of a choice that stuck around and remained visible long after the initial donation was made. Seeing so many people wearing them provided incredibly powerful social proof, encouraging even more people to join the movement. Many companies have figured out clever ways to design products that essentially advertise themselves. When Apple first released the iPod, most headphones on the market were black. But Apple made theirs distinctively white. That simple design choice made it instantly visible just how many people were adopting this revolutionary new technology. Those white cords snaking out of people's ears were a constant, highly public signal that the iPod was catching on like wildfire. Even the Apple logo on their laptops is a masterclass in understanding public visibility. Originally, the logo on the back of the laptop was oriented to face the user when the computer was closed. It made perfect sense from a user experience perspective. But Steve Jobs realized that when the laptop was open, the logo appeared upside down to everyone else in the coffee shop. He made the bold decision to flip it. He chose to make the logo look right to the public, not the user, because he deeply understood the power of observability. Every single open laptop became a tiny advertisement for Apple. So the fourth principle is public. If people can't see it, they can't imitate it. You need to design products and initiatives that advertise themselves and create behavioral residue that clearly shows others what people are doing. If something is built to show, it's built to grow. Now we come to the fifth principle, which might seem obvious at first glance but actually has surprising depth: practical value. Simply put, people genuinely like to help others, and one of the easiest ways to help is by sharing useful information, tips, advice, and knowledge that can save people time, improve their health, or help them save money. Sharing really is caring. An 86-year-old man named Ken Craig became an unexpected viral sensation with a simple video about, wait for it, shucking corn. For anyone who's ever wrestled with those annoying, clingy silks on a corn cob, Ken's trick was an absolute revelation. Microwave the corn in its husk for a few minutes, cut off the bottom end, and the corn slides right out, perfectly clean without a single silk. The video wasn't flashy or fancy, it didn't have social currency or high emotion, but it was incredibly, immediately useful. Millions of people shared it simply because they genuinely wanted to help their friends and family solve this common, annoying problem. It was news you can actually use. Saving money is one of the most common and powerful forms of practical value. We literally can't help but share a genuinely great deal. But what makes a deal seem great? It's not just about the absolute amount of money you save. The psychology here is fascinating, and it connects to a concept from behavioral economics called prospect theory. The key idea is that we evaluate things relative to a reference point, not in absolute terms. A 50-cent coffee seems incredibly cheap in New York City but absurdly expensive in rural India. The price is exactly the same, but our expectations, our reference points, are completely different. This is why promotional offers are so psychologically powerful. A barbecue grill marked down from $350 to $250 seems like a much better deal than the exact same grill marked down from $255 to $240. Even though the final price is actually higher in the first scenario, the perceived value is much greater because the discount from the original price, the reference point, is so much larger. The key to sharing practical value is packaging your knowledge and expertise in a way that's effortless for people to pass along. It has to be genuinely useful, but it also has to be easily digestible. Think of all those articles you see with titles like 5 Ways to Improve Your Sleep or 10 Tips for a Better Workout. These list formats are incredibly shareable, because they package useful information into a simple, accessible, bite-sized format. So the fifth principle is practical value. If you want your idea to spread, you absolutely have to show how it helps people. Make it useful and package it so it's ridiculously easy to share. We've now covered 5 of the 6 principles, but there's one final ingredient: a powerful vessel that can carry all the other principles along for the ride. And that brings us to our 6th and final principle: stories. Since the very dawn of humanity, we've been telling stories. Around campfires, in bustling marketplaces, and today, around water coolers and across social media. People don't just mechanically share information. They tell stories that captivate and connect. A good story is like a Trojan horse. The story itself is the beautiful, captivating wooden horse that people willingly and eagerly pull into their city. But hidden inside is your message, your idea, your brand. People get so caught up in the narrative that they don't even realize they're absorbing the information you want them to hear. Think about the story of Jared Fogle, the man who lost an astonishing 245 pounds by eating Subway sandwiches. This is an incredibly powerful story. It has remarkable social currency. It's genuinely inspiring emotion, and it contains a useful lesson about weight loss practical value. People share Jared's story because they're moved by his transformation. But every single time they tell it, the Subway brand comes along for the ride. Listeners learn that Subway offers healthy options, so healthy that someone successfully lost a massive amount of weight eating there regularly. The brand is completely integral to the narrative. You literally cannot tell Jared's story without mentioning Subway multiple times. This is what Berger calls valuable virality. It's not just about getting people talking. It's about ensuring your brand is a crucial, inseparable part of what they're talking about. This is where so many viral marketing campaigns completely fail. A company might create a hilarious video of roller skating babies that gets millions of views. But if those babies have absolutely nothing to do with the product, say bottled water, people will share the entertaining video but completely forget the brand. The brand wasn't integral to the story, it was just awkwardly slapped on at the end like an afterthought. It's like building a beautiful Trojan horse, but forgetting to actually put any soldiers inside. To create a truly powerful story, your message needs to be woven into the very fabric of the narrative itself. Dove's evolution video is an absolute masterclass in this approach. The video shows, in mesmerizing time-lapse, a regular woman being transformed into a billboard supermodel through layers of makeup, elaborate hairstyling, and extensive digital retouching. It ends with the powerful line, "No wonder our perception of beauty is distorted." The story is emotional, genuinely surprising, and taps into a conversation people were already having about unrealistic beauty standards. It's a powerful narrative that stands completely on its own. But Dove, a beauty products company, is the one telling this story. By doing so, they embed their brand's message, their campaign for real beauty, directly into the narrative. The story is the vessel, and Dove's brand identity is the precious cargo hidden inside. So the final principle is stories. If you want to share an idea effectively, wrap it in a compelling narrative. Build your Trojan horse carefully, but make absolutely sure your message is so central to the story that people simply cannot tell the story without it. Information travels best under the guise of idle chatter. And there you have it, the 6 steps to making things contagious: social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories. It's not just one of these principles in isolation that makes something catch on. Often, the most wildly contagious ideas skillfully combined several of them. That $100 cheesesteak had social currency. It was remarkable. Emotion. It was surprising, and was wrapped in a great story. The will it blend? Videos had social currency, emotion, and demonstrated incredible practical value all at once. The beauty of this framework is its elegant simplicity and universal applicability. These principles don't just apply to massive companies with huge marketing budgets. They apply to literally anyone who has an idea they want to share with the world. As we wrap up our journey through Contagious, I want to take a moment to reflect on what makes this book genuinely powerful. It's not just a collection of fascinating stories and clever marketing tactics. At its heart, this book is really about understanding people. Understanding the fundamental human needs and motivations that drive us to connect, to share, and to influence one another. Jonah Berger gives us a practical framework, a lens through which to see and understand the world differently. Once you truly understand these 6 steps, you start seeing them absolutely everywhere. You suddenly understand why a certain meme takes off, why a local cafe suddenly has lines out the door, or why a particular social cause gains unexpected momentum. It demystifies the process of going viral and transforms it from something that seems like a random lightning strike into something that can be intentionally and systematically crafted. For someone your age, standing on the edge of building your own path in the world, these lessons are genuinely invaluable. Whether you want to start a club at school, launch a YouTube channel, raise awareness for an issue you deeply care about, or one day build your own business, these principles are your fundamental toolkit. So how can you start applying this today? Let's make it really simple and actionable. First, the next time you feel that urge to share something, a video, an article, a story, pause for just a second and ask yourself why. Which of the steps is at play? Is it because it makes you look smart, like you have social currency? Is it because it fired you up with emotion? Is it incredibly useful practical value? Just noticing these patterns in your own behavior will make the principles stick in your mind. Second, think about an idea you actually want to share. Maybe it's convincing your friends to try a new game, or getting your family to recycle more consistently. Instead of just stating dry facts, try wrapping your message in a story. Don't just say, "We should recycle more." Tell a compelling story about the devastating impact of plastic in the ocean, a story that makes them genuinely feel something deep. Focus on those high arousal emotions. And third, think seriously about making the private public. If you're genuinely proud of a project you've completed, don't just keep it hidden to yourself. Share it boldly. Let your work be seen by others. That visibility doesn't just provide social proof for your developing skills. It genuinely inspires others. Your visible success becomes a quiet trigger for their own ambition. The most profound lesson in Contagious is this: you don't need to be a celebrity or have 1 million followers to make an idea spread effectively. A truly great message, one built on the solid foundation of these timeless human principles, is what actually matters. We all have the genuine power to make our ideas heard, to create meaningful change, and to make things catch on. We just need to understand the recipe. That was a summary of Contagious: Why Things Catch On by Jonah Berger. We've explored the core ideas today, but remember, a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. It shows you the basic layout, but it can't replace the rich experience of actually walking the streets, meeting the people, and breathing the air. The real power of this book lives in the depth of the stories and the elegant science behind them. If any of the ideas we've discussed today sparked your curiosity, I genuinely encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning marketing tricks. It's about gaining a deeper, more nuanced understanding of human nature itself. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to continue exploring ideas from the world's most influential books, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow and ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.